Okay, a lot of my friends, they live under a rock. They don't even know who Karen Reed is. So, this is going to be a short video just to recap who Karen Reed is and what this is all about. Karen Reed is a woman that lives in Massachusetts. She was dating a Boston cop named John O'Keefe. On and off again relationship. John, he adopted his sister's two children because she passed away some time ago. And so did the father of the children. It was like two tragedies that orphaned two children. So John O'Keefe adopted his niece and nephew and was raising them. And he was dating this woman named Karen Reed. Karen is she works like in a law office. I want to say she has some legal background, so she's not stupid, right? Anyway, they were fighting. They weren't in a great relationship, and some people thought it was almost over at that point. Anyway, it's January 28th, 2022. There's a nor'easter coming in. A big snowstorm that night. So everyone's preparing for this giant snowstorm, okay? And she's making phone calls to John that day, whether to meet up or not. The snow, does she want to come into Canton where he lives or not? Because the snow, she doesn't want to get trapped in Canton. So there's talk whether she's going to come in or not. John goes out for some drinks, meet some friends at a bar called McCarthy's in Canton. And he doesn't know if Karen's going to show up or not. He just goes to the bar, has some drinks with some buddies. Karen shows up. She drives in. And they have a few drinks, a lot of drinks actually, in McCarthy's. They have a lot of drinks. And then they leave that bar and they go to another bar called The Waterfall. And in The Waterfall, there's a bunch of people celebrating a birthday party. It's the Alberts family and the McCabe families celebrating a birthday party. And John and Karen walk in, and they're all having drinks at the waterfall. And then Brian Albert suggests everyone go back to his place for an after party. So they do. They all leave the waterfall and they all drive over to Brian Albert's house. And mostly everyone shows up. And then John and Karen's driving her Lexus, and they're last to arrive. And people see her car parked out front, but they never come in the house, and then they leave. Okay? And so everyone goes home. The next morning around 4 a.m., Karen called Jen McCabe saying she left John at the waterfall and he never came home. And then Jen said, no, we saw you in front of Brian's house parked out front. And they hang up the phone. And now Jen McCabe's at home. She's awake at like 4 o'clock in the morning going, we saw them at Brian's house. And so she's just making coffee, going out through her morning. And then all of a sudden around 5:40, she hears this screaming in her front yard. Jen. It's Karen. Karen drove to Jen McCabe's house. And then shortly after Karen got there, Carrie Roberts shows up. Another woman in her Ford Explorer. She shows up. And the three of them are in the front yard of Jen McCabe's house, yelling, talking, and they notice that Karen has a broken taillight on her Lexus. And they want to go look for John. That's what they're going to do. And Carrie Roberts says, no, we can't drive the Lexus with the broken taillights. So they said, let's go back to John's house and look for him there first. So they take the two cars to One Meadow, where John O'Keefe lives, and he's not there. And then they all get into the Ford Explorer, Kerry Roberts Ford Explorer, and they drive to 34 Fairview, um, where the Alberts house is. And when they are driving up to the house, Karen is banging on the door. There he is, there he is, there he is. Let me out, let me out. She's trying to get out of the car really fast. She gets out of the car really fast. Jen and Carrie are in the car going, what? She's crazy. She's crazy. They don't see anything because it's dark and it's snowing. There's a lot of snow on the ground. And then Jen and Carrie get out of the car, and Karen is on top of a mound of snow, and it's John O'Keefe's body. Jen McCabe calls 911, and this is on the front lawn of Brian Albert, the house they were going to, the house where the party was. And 911's called, paramedics show up, police show up, and the investigation started there. And then throughout the investigation, there was so much snow on the ground, they couldn't, it's hard to see anything on the ground. John was taken to the hospital minus a shoe. So the police said, okay, he's missing a shoe. Typically in car accidents, you slip out of your shoes. So they went back to the scene and they started digging up some snow where the body was found, and they found his shoe and they found a hat. So they know that John lost a shoe out there somewhere. And then the investigation just kept on going. And then many days later, they started finding, actually that same day, they found, in a more investigation, they found taillight pieces. And remember, at Jen McCabe's house, they found a broken taillight on Karen's Lexus. So that is where the investigation started pointing to, did Karen hit John with her car? There's broken taillight pieces in the front yard. John's got injuries to his eyebrow, the back of his head, a little bruise on the back of his right hand, and there's scratches on his right arm. And that's what they're seeing, the medical examiner's seeing on John. And that is the story of how John O'Keefe was found dead in the front yard of Boston police officers. Brian Albert, the owner of the home where the lawn is, he's also a Boston police officer. So that is the Karen Read, John O'Keefe story in a nutshell. And if you want more information, Google it. But for my friends who are watching on my YouTube, they're going, who the hell is Karen Read and John O'Keefe? They have no idea the background of the story. So this video is a quick background who Karen Read and John O'Keefe are and how this whole crazy story happened.